Hi there, I'm Ken from Ken's Hobby Bench,
And I'm Jordan with the Line in the Stars.
and welcome to the HTM buddy build of the USS Reliant. So, Jordan, new week here, and we got some new progress to report. So, what did you get done last week?
Oh, I don't have it on screen because everything's currently the other end of the room and the paint booth area. So I got finally got my nacelles for the most part taken care of. So I got the interior light blocked. At least got the primer on the inside. Got all my putty work done, and then got all of my holes drilled for all of the lighting. Basically got everything ready to go, minus the modification for the fin. That needs to be eventually replaced. And so, yeah, that's what I got done after a little bit of technical difficulties the week before, as this thing goes. But yeah, got that done. How about yourself?
Well, I managed to get my photon torpedo lights put in and wired up, as well as my uh, I guess the flashing light on top of the photon torpedo pod, and
Awesome.
yeah, that's I did find out though afterwards from Donnie that apparently with an Arduino we need to have it sends the signal up the negative, which I put all together. So I'm gonna have to in this episode. I probably won't show much of it, but I'll resolder these as four individual lines again, and then uh, router out this trench a little wider, and yeah. But that's getting into what I'm going to be doing this week.
Nice.
But
Well, I guess that's a good segue then, I guess so to say. So, what's the plan for this week?
yes, so yes, I'm gonna retrench this a little bit wider to fit a couple extra wires down, and put on the four wires, and get that set up. If I have time this week, I'm also gonna try and do down into the super phaser area and the pylons that'll lead down into the nacelles. So I'm hoping to get that done. And if I have time, I might drill a small hole into this bridge piece to come up to this flashing light on top. So that's what I'm hoping to get accomplished. But this is a secondary goal that if I don't get it done, that's fine. My main goal is to get this done. And
Awesome.
yourself?
Man, pretty much all the same thing, although just getting started. I've kind of dry fit everything together, just seeing how everything fits. Um, but basically, I need to do all the things that you just did. I need to get my photon torpedo launchers installed. I need to trench out my wires or my wire channels and get all of my different light elements built, put together, burned in. And I'm going to get these parts cut out and then wait for the clear pieces. I'm sorry that you have to remove yours.
Uh,
But yeah, I'm basically just going to go through and get everything modified up to the point basically where you're at right now. It does seem a little ambitious, but it's really not that much work. It's really just making sure that you're massaging the fitment of the wire trench to make sure that you're getting this so it tightens up. It's kind of hard to see, but if you look in between there, there is not a lot of room in between there to get wires down even at 30 gauge. And so really it just kind of seems like it's going to be a lot of massaging these parts. And if you notice, the fitment is not great here. Like we have to do a lot of pressing, a lot of holding, and like a lot of the stuff like it just some of the seams don't look so great. So it's going to be just a lot of that, a lot of work on getting this done and getting the last of our lake monster details. Or no, excuse me, the green strawberry parts installed this week, except for the super phasers. So yeah,
yes.
that's what I got going this week.
Right on. On a news side, we've contacted Cass, and we did mention because Will had asked me as well. We'd said to each other that we need to let Cass know that these vents on the bottom they do need to be clear.
Yeah,
So Cass got back to us today and let us know that he didn't realize that, and he's gonna reprint them and send us. He's got the files for the rest of the parts that Will's done, so he'll send those to us as well. And you know, Jordan, Cass is such a great guy with us that I think we should talk to him and see if he's willing to be an official sponsor for this build.
I, you know, that's a great idea, actually. Yeah, I mean, we've done a little bit of purchasing of stuff otherwise, like the green strawberry stuff and the paragraphic set, but all of these mods, all of these things have come from the brain of Will and then through Cass, and I would simply love to throw him up as a sponsor for the build. So we should definitely ask him. We should respond to that email after we're done here. I love it.
Yes,
Love it.
for
Love
sure.
it. I think it's a great idea.
Also, we didn't mention this before, but on if you watch Will's video, his intercooler here, he actually did a replacement one as well. So ours was from Green Strawberry, but he's got a set too. So that way, if you go to Lake Monster Detail down the road, you can get everything all at once instead of having to shop at multiple different vendors for different items.
Yeah, it's almost going to be like a one-stop shop for everything you're going to need to modify the Reliant if you want to have a screen accurate Reliant. Like
Yes.
Will's doing an amazing job. Will is like single-handedly going through and correcting every mistake on this model and not holding anything back. And even Cass is like, I didn't realize how bad this model was
Yes.
until Will started building it. So, yeah, no, it's going to be a one-stop shop for everything that you're going to need for this. I think it's pretty awesome.
And also of note, for people doing the Enterprise, Cass asked him to redo this part for the intercooler part for the Enterprise kit as well. So
Nice,
I'm
the 350.
hoping we'll get some Enterprise love and coming soon.
Nice.
So we could have both ships in the same scale.
Wow, that would be really cool. A 537 refit. I got the Tomy 350 refit coming, but a 537 to sit side by side with this one.
And I did when I purchased the masking painting kit for this from Mass Designs. I actually went and bought the 537 scale Aztec masking as well for the Enterprise. So,
nice.
Maybe I'll get to do that soon. Maybe might be a year or two. I don't know. But something to look forward to.
Yeah, well, a lot of these parts are going to be interchangeable too, like the rim windows and a couple other parts are going to be interchangeable with the Enterprise as well. So very cool. Oh, sweet, man. That's hey, once again, I'm just amazed at the ability of Will to create these parts, like kind of in awe.
Yes, for sure. Also, I have to say, Jordan, in your last video, I was really impressed with that crystal you put. I can't remember what it's called. Jody at the Trek Mods, he sent us a photo of the warp nacelle.
It was a plasma conduit. It was a plasma. It was something to do with the plasma control. The plasma flow control crystal is what it's called. There you go. Thank you.
That looked really nice.
Yeah. So I was trying to the thought process was like, do I put a 3mm in there and then kind of build up around the outside of it? But then looking in the close image of the the close-up images of our intro, for instance, that Todd made for us, and just kind of looking at it, I'm like, a 5mm is gonna be perfect, and it just needs to kind of sit a little recess. And so thank you. That was really kind of like I don't know. I had to think about what could we possibly do here? Do I just build it up with solar res and then try to shape it? So with that, the LED is actually sitting right here. I'm going to grab it. And so it is just a 5mm LED. But what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to sit with a piece of sanding paper and I'm going to sand around the outside to diffuse it, one, and then two, to shape it so that it kind of gives that. It looks like either, I don't know what sort of shape it is. I don't know if it was done as a hex or an octagonal or something like that. I think it was octagonal, so it should be 8-sided or something. So I might try to repeat that or get something similar, at least within scale. So thank you. I appreciate that. That was one of those moments where I'm like, okay, well, what are we going to do here? Because I didn't realize that was there. Like the amount of lights and details on the nacelles have honestly kind of blown me away. Like
For
I've always trashed on like well, not always trash. Like I always love the refit's one of my favorite designs in Star Trek, but I didn't like how the nacelles weren't lit up properly. It doesn't have a proper Bussard collector on it, blah 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 blah
Mhm.
blah. And but when you look at these, they're like lit up and there's like little spotlights and there's like little RCS thruster lights. And it's just like, are you kidding me? And the model itself, like the model itself is just full of like little blinky lights everywhere. And hey, it's really cool. We're gonna be pumping a lot of power. I wonder how many amps this thing is gonna pull.
Oh, I don't know, because yeah, we got lights to put back here up above there. I think there's
Yep.
two below.
Yep, and then one on either side of the either one of those tractor beam emitters has a light in them.
Yeah.
And then we have our impulse engines that are going to have a light, and then each one of the corner RCS thrusters is going to have a light.
Yep. And the tractor beam emitters will have lights.
Yep, and then not to mention all of the different nav lights, formation lights.
Yes.
Like the amount of lights that we're going to be throwing into this bad boy is going to be insane.
That's why I like how you resisted that red crystal light there to be dim. I think that's some of these may need to be have that done.
Yeah, and you know what's funny with that is I went through and like it was I scaled up, so I have like the standard quarter watt, and then kind of worked my way up to the 5K, and so anything past the 5K on the resistor, it wouldn't activate the LED, or if it did, it would be flickery and didn't look very good. And so yeah, up that 5K, but then when you put it up, it's perfectly like that light is not too much. It's not casting a light up, which was the one thing that I was most worried about. So yeah, there's going to be so much, and I think there's going to be a lot of like that's going to be something that's going to be good for you in the learning for doing all of this, like all the electronics is going to be messing with the resistors and trying to get your light temperatures correctly. That's something that I'm thinking almost exclusively about right now as I'm building this model. Like, how bright do I want my photon torpedo launchers to be? Like, do I want it to be like a 3 volt to start and then flash up to a 5 and then fade all the way out? I don't know. So, yeah, that's the interesting thing. So, yeah, that's the beauty of this model. That's going to be the fun for this one, I think.
Yes, for sure. All right. Well,
all right, man.
Anything else?
I think that's what I got. We should definitely reach out to Cass, see if he's willing to accept us throwing in that he's a sponsor of this build. And once again, to Cass and Will, thank you guys so much for the work that you've done in helping us get this build going. We really appreciate you guys. So otherwise, good luck to you, sir, for your build this week.
Well, thank you, and same to you.
All right, guys. All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Line of the Stars. I'm Jordan, and here we are. We're going to be doing some modifications to the roll bar of the Miranda class USS Reliant. Now, one of the things that has been interesting about this build is like really kind of examining for the first time. Now, I've looked at models for like, say, the Slave 1, the model that I took to Wonderfest last year. I've used reference photos for, like looking at, trying to get like close to screen accurate and what have you. This is the first time where in my entire modeling career where I'm like stopping and looking and watching footage and trying to make sure that we're getting everything right. That along with Will and Ken, like these are going to be some of the most amazing 537 scale Reliants are out there. And until we get that 350, bug round 2, everybody. But until we get that 350 scale, like I think this is going to be one of the best that we can find out there. And it's not just because of the craftsmanship. I'm not the greatest model builder in the world. But the amount of detail work that we're putting in is like pretty incredible. Like I can't wait to see actually how this turns out in the end. But while we're here, let's go ahead and talk about once again, just to reference what we're going to be doing today, and then go ahead and get on with the build. And we'll kind of start today with what I have already done. Now, I've gone through, and it's been a couple days since I did the recording with Ken, and I can't remember if I mentioned that I burned in these LEDs and created these flat 2x3x4 LEDs for our photon torpedo launchers, and I'll show you what those look like after they're installed here in a little bit. But what I've also done is created, we have our nav beacon right here, our flashing beacon. This is a bright white 0306 SMD with a piece of 1mm fiber optic attached to it. And then here we have a warm white SMD 0306 with two 1mm LEDs, or excuse me, fiber optics attached to it. And then what we're going to be using those for is going to be the dual fiber optics, the one with the two. You can see here there are two little formation light, nav light, beacons, whatever. They're lit up right here. You can see the raised details for it. And so we're going to go ahead and drill those out. And that's where we're going to start today. We're going to drill those out and then go ahead and get them ready so that we can run through our warm white lights through each one of those. And then we are going to go ahead and go through. And you can see these two rectangle pieces back here that have a slight taper on them. We do have a 3D printed part, but Cass is going ahead and getting us some clear parts printed, as this is supposed to be picking up some of the light from the inside. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and put a 1mm fiber optic line right through here up in this general area, because this is going to be where the very top portion of the ship is. So we're going to have one of our the single bright white SMD. That one's going to be for our nav light. So, and then beyond that, what we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and get our photon torpedo launchers installed, and then go ahead and get the backs of our LEDs, or get the LEDs basically put into place. Although I'm probably thinking about holding off on that now that I think about it, because once I get the photon torpedo launchers in there, get all my holes drilled, I'm going to want to go ahead and get all of this light blocked and all that. And I still need to go ahead and I started trenching my, putting a trench in for my wires. I need to go ahead and finish getting that done on each side. So I think that's going to be enough for today. So let's go ahead and move on and start with the build and drilling out some of our beacons. All right, so what we have here, we have two little raised details. Kind of hard to pick up, but you got two little raised details right here. It's kind of easier to pick up on the bottom. Those are going to be lit up, so let's go ahead and get those modified real quick. Very simple process. I like to take my single-bladed nippers, and let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit here. You guys can see what I'm doing. And what I like to do is take the single-bladed nippers and take off that top surface detail. Do the same thing on the other side. Leaving the impression in place, but taking off a lot of the raised surface. Now, I have my 1mm PCB drill. And I'm going to go ahead and center that in its spot. And go ahead and get our hole drilled out. And what I like to do is just kind of run back and forth. There we go. Center up. And drill in. Perfect. Excellent. Now I'm going to go ahead and sand that down real fast. All right. There they are, all cleaned up. And let's go ahead and power up our power supply real fast. And we'll take a look here. Let's grab the two-pronged piece. And these have all been burned in for a day. They're all ready to go. Starting to accumulate an impressive amount of LEDs now for this ship. This is going to be my most lit up ship. Most LEDs that I've ever put in. All right. And, oh, oh no. Used, oh no. All right, that's not a travesty. I can go ahead and get this put back in place. Oh, hard to see. There we go. Used Solares to secure that in place. So, kind of show you the general gist of what we're looking at here, and I'll get that repaired. So obviously, we will cut those down, but maybe both those beacons put through there. Excellent. Perfect, perfect. So get that off to the side, and note to self, Editor Jordan, remember to fix this LED. All right. Now, let's go ahead and get the top section up here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my pencil here, and then directly off center. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my straight edge here, and directly off the center line, probably about, there we go, center, and just want to center it up. And center. These complex curves are not fun to deal with sometimes. There we go. And right about there. All right. And just like that. In that spot, I'm going to go ahead and grab my drill. And being very careful to not let it wander, go ahead and drill my hole in. All right. There we go. Excellent. And one more time. Let's see if I can do this without pulling out a fiber optic line. Let's go ahead and test this. And we can go ahead to modifying our little rectangles down below. So we have a bright white SMD here. And that one will stick up just slightly from the hull, just like that. And this one will be one of the flashers. So probably about like that. Perfect. All right. So all of our holes are drilled for our beacons, whether they're nav lights or formation lights, whatever you want to call them. All of our drill holes have been drilled. Let's go ahead and move on to very carefully cutting out these little sections. All right, so this is going to be one of the smallest applications that I've used the Sonic Saber for, and I can say that this is, I have kind of considered just using my drill bit here and kind of like doing this the old-fashioned way. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a try with the Sonic Saber. Wish me luck. So go ahead and plunge right in. Okay. Do the same thing. Kind of move my hand out of the way a little bit here. Push in, plunge. Know what you're doing, Jordan. Small cuts. So you're able to plunge all the way through. There we go. Let's go and do the same thing up top. Trace it. Oh. Trace the bottom here. Okay. That's cut all the way through. Okay. I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup. That didn't turn out too bad. Let's go ahead and take care of the other side real fast. There we go. There it is. Oh. So, that side actually cut out a lot nicer now that I was a little bit more confident in what I was doing. I'm going to go ahead and work with this through here for a couple minutes, and I'll be back to show you how it turned out. All right, so got a little bit more sanding to do in there. Kind of fiddly to get in there and kind of work around, but got both of those all taken care of. I don't have the pieces, however, to demonstrate what we're looking at here for design. They're around here somewhere. I don't. Once I found out that we weren't going to be using them, I went ahead and just kind of out of sight, out of mind now at that point. So, but yeah, there's going to be two clear pieces that are going to be kind of picking up some of the light from the inside. I need to kind of take a look at the video and Will's video and, kind of get an idea of what he was thinking for the lighting on that. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on to our last little bit and getting our photon torpedo launchers installed. All right, so let's go ahead and grab our photon torpedo launchers. I have already gotten one taken care of so I can test my LEDs with them. And so that is going to be the rear one. And so here is the rear photon torpedo launcher. Great detail on there. And how the LEDs are going to work, I'll go ahead and grab one of them and I'll power it up so you guys can see. But what my thought process was is I don't want to have to worry too much about the shape of the LED kind of working for what we're looking for here. And so I went ahead and used a 1.5K resistor and really brought this LED down. I definitely lowered the forward voltage on it. It looks kind of orange on screen. The camera is going to do what the camera is going to do, but this is a nice true red LED. And this fits nicely back behind here, as you guys can see. So that was kind of what my thought process was, is it kind of fits and slightly clicks in. It's not quite the right size, but it kind of gets right in there just a little bit. And when we see that lit up from the outside, obviously we need a light block, and that's why I'm not going to install these right now. But when this is all lined up, is a true, it's really hard to kind of pick up, but it looks like it's coming through, and there's a bit of depth with the circle center and then the square sides. It really does look good inside that photon torpedo launcher. So that's the idea. That's why I did that. So we're going to need to go ahead and get this installed. And then in between episodes, I'm going to do all my light blocking. And then we'll take a look at all of our light block parts in the next episode as we kind of talk about getting some of our assembly taken care of. And here is our final photon torpedo launcher. And this is going to be for the 4 side. And just look at that detail. I am going to go ahead and grab the stock photon torpedo launcher just to show you the difference in how well Green Strawberry did in getting this designed. All right, so now obviously the camera is going to have a difficult time picking up the detail, but that's pretty much all we got in comparison the two of these together. All the mechanical little bits around the outside of the photon torpedo launchers are there. Such a superior piece. So, same thing. Oh, that wound up actually in the trash very appropriately. It's funny, I got the trash can open next to my workbench here, and yep, right into the trash. And there is the rear photon torpedo launcher. Just a marked difference. Much, much better. All right. So, for this, on the back of the block, this is done in cast resin. So, this acts a little bit differently than your, resin that you would have from a regular 3D printer. This is all done from casting. So, what we're going to need to do is cut in right through along, very up till we get flat with the back of here. And then the same thing, cut in along there. And it's going to expose the holes in the back here. So let's go ahead and get to cutting. And for that, what I'm going to do is I like to grab my vise. There we go. And make sure it's firm but not crushing the piece. There we go. Now, pushing straight in. Just going to go ahead and run some lines down. Now keep in mind, this was designed to cut resin. So, these fingers on the end of my vise here, I think, are not helping too much. So I'm going to carefully put it in the actual lower part of the vise. Just very carefully. I want to be able to push down on the piece. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay. Almost did a bonehead thing there. Thankfully, kind of caught myself. There we go. There we go. There'll come a point where you've kind of separated enough out. And there we go. Cuts through there real nice. Of course, you could have used a razor saw, like I've used many, many times before. But I always like to use the Sonic Saber whenever we get a chance, of course. So I'm going to go and grab my sanding block here. Sand down her back. All right, we're nice and sanded flat down there. And it exposes the open photon torpedo launchers. And let's just go ahead and take a double check. Fits in there perfectly. Kind of clicks in slightly into place, which is very nice. Get that out of the way. All right, and our photon torpedo launchers are ready to go, basically. Yep. Putting it face down in the vise was probably a bad idea, however. So I flattened out my front pieces here, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull off those points a little bit, do a little bit of sanding. There we go. Okay. So where I'm going to install these, actually going to be up along the top here. Because I want to kind of do this in two different component sets. So this fits in right into that slot right there. So in order to accommodate that, remember we're using super glue here because this is a resin piece. I'm going to go ahead and drop a bead of glue, very small bead of glue, right down inside on either side here. Getting up along the side. There we go. And sure everything lines up properly here on the other side before it fully cures. Gluing it on the wrong spot. I see. It's on the outside, not the inside. I see. Okay. What's funny is I've not looked at one bit of the stock kit instructions yet. Huh, now that I think about it. Pretty easy to infer how all these parts go together. Not not super complicated here. There we go. Then making sure everything all lines up. My practice here is going to be put the piece together as it's supposed to go. And then I'm going to go ahead and hold this in place for a couple minutes while it's sitting in its proper position and let it cure, and I will be right back. All right, so that's in there. Very nice. All right, we're going to do the same thing with the back. Just want to make sure I'm getting my shape right. The rounded part right here. That's right back there. Okay. So our CA on our spot. And put into its place. And same thing as on the other side. Go ahead and get it positioned properly with the other piece put on top. And then push it down into its spot. Hold it in place. And I'll be right back. All right, so here we are. We've reached the end of the plan for the day. Like it's not a whole lot. Like once again, we're kind of having to slow down a little bit. Oop, stuck myself in the model a little bit. We are having to slow down just a little bit with waiting for parts and all that jazz. So I think there's one thing that we can go ahead and install. I know we're in the results phase of the whole build, but I think we can go ahead and install something here real quick. That little nose cone I want to just go ahead and get on. It doesn't look good not being on there. So let's go ahead and take care of that real fast. Okay. Let's go ahead and see how this gets put into place. Oh. There it is. So, kind of a tight little fit. We'll go ahead and drop some glue in here. Just a little bit. This is going to need to be puttied. That's going to be most of the fitment there. And there it is. Definitely going to need to be puttied. Like, look at that gap. And that's like squeezed all the way together. Wow. Wow. Okay, well, I'm going to need to do some work on that. Let's go ahead and glue that up right up here at the top. I'm like, I'm done. Not quite, sir. Not quite. Let's go ahead and grab a clamp here. See if I can clamp that together. It's an aggressive clamp. I agree. So I'm just going to go ahead and hold that like that. And we'll go ahead and do our outro. So this episode, once again, like I said, need to get, a lot of the work done, a lot of the prep work done, getting things installed, ready to go, getting our LEDs all prepped, ready to go, burned in. It's a lot of work. A lot of work is still yet to be done while we're waiting for parts. And so that being said, I'm going to go ahead and keep working on this over the next week. I'm going to go ahead and get this light block from the inside, go ahead and using some of my flat black primer. And then I'm going to go ahead and work on getting my LEDs installed so that we can work on getting all of our wires run, get this sealed up, or maybe we'll see if I'm able to, get this sealed up with tape, probably, more than likely. But yeah, that's going to be kind of the plan for the next week. And then we'll be working on, like I said, getting this all wrapped up. And then we'll move back onto the nacelles as we should be pretty close to getting some of our parts. So that's what I got for you guys today. And I just want to say thank you. I know there was a million things y'all could have done today. Instead, he spent a couple minutes with me watching me build a model, and I think that's pretty damn cool. You guys have any questions or comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. Like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. And my friends, until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world where we happen to be. And just remember, from hell's heart, I stab at thee.